For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word, and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. You are listening to Jester Section Hiker, the premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers, and I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. For this week's episode, I am putting the spotlight on someone I like to follow, and I feel pretty confident by the end of this episode, you will be following him too. My guest is currently section hiking until he can thru hike when he retires, and he spends a lot of time putting together weekly updates of what's happening on the Appalachian Trail on his YouTube channel. Thanks for coming back for another episode, and if you are new to the podcast, thanks for joining in on the fun, and now on to the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. My goodness, you guys are in for a treat on this one. I am actually sitting here in my dining room, and I am with a gentleman that I'm going to introduce you as. This is how he introduces himself on his YouTube channel. He is a Christian, husband, father, Eagle Scout. He has a passion for the Appalachian Trail that is unbelievable, and it calls to him. So without further ado, Ramdino, welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast.
Awesome. Glad to be there. Hey, y'all, it's Ramdino coming at you from the Jester Podcast.
You guys, we are going to have a ball. So we probably need, both of us need to take a breath, sit back, and enjoy our own show, because not only is Ramdino, okay, your YouTube channel is Ramdino
Roaming the Trails.
And if you guys have not heard of that YouTube channel, believe me, by the end of that, you are going to want to go over there and see and hear what Ramdino has going on. But before we talk about that, let's get back to this calling for the Appalachian Trail. And you also mentioned in some of your YouTube videos that you're section hiking until you can thru hike. And I think I figured out 2028 might be your thru hike year.
Well, you're ahead of me.
Okay.
I just go by days. So whenever I retire, I'm trying to retire when I'm 62 or 65, somewhere in there. So yeah, if that works out to be 2028, that's great.
I think it's 2028.
I can't do long multiplications though.
So let's talk about, tell us who you are. I gave a little blurb, but tell us who you are, your passion for the AT, and do you still want to thru hike, or are you good with section hiking, or what's going on with all that?
Well, so that really gives a good indication of who I am. I love the outdoors, have always loved the outdoors. Grew up kind of once we moved when I was probably, in middle school, and had a lot of woods where we moved to. And then plus I'm an Eagle Scout, so I was in Boy Scouts, used to go hiking all the time, and just really loved being outside. And so that's how I kind of got accustomed to that. And then through the Boy Scouts, occasionally we would go hiking on the Appalachian Trail. And so I've always just been, love the allure of it and just the mystery of it, that you can set your feet, unless you're at either the northern terminus or the southern terminus, unless you're anywhere in between, you can step your foot on the trail and look up the trail north, and that trail goes all the way to Maine.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome. And you turn 180 degrees and look down that trail and watch the little white blazes as they go off into the distance. Hopefully, if it's a well-blazed area. Some of them are not so well-blazed. Trail maintainers, you need to hear that.
Get it together.
That's right. Let's get it going, especially up around Roll Mountain. But anyhow, but look south, and that you could go all the way to Georgia on that one trail. You can't do that on a major highway anywhere that's around me. So I just think that is awesome. And the fact that, you look up the trail and it kind of dances around for a little bit and then it disappears around the corner and you're like, wow, what's around the next corner? I got to walk up there and see what's around the next corner. There's another blaze. Let me walk to that blaze, see what's up there. So all that, just the mystery and the lore of it is just something that kind of draws me to it. And that's what kind of drew me to it initially. My mom, kind of gave me a resurgence of it over the last, 3 to 4 years.
Okay. Tell us about that.
I had been out of hiking, raising a family, had children, raised them, saw them off to school, caught up in the matrix of that everybody gets caught up in. Doing the things around the house and just working 40, 50 hours a week and paying the bills and stuff. And
somehow putting up crown molding becomes more important, or
or mowing the grass or something like that, right? So, but my mom said, "Hey, I got a book I want to talk to you about." So she was telling me about the book "Walk in the Woods," which was a huge disappointment to me, but that's a whole different subject.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk about that book.
Okay.
Let's not go there. Like, that was embarrassing.
Okay, so we won't go there. So anyway, but I did read the book, and up until the point where he quit, it was very interesting, and that kind of got me a resurgence in it. And so I got out and did a section hike or two, just maybe an overnighter, or maybe just some day hikes, and I'm like, man, I got to get back out here, because I realized that it was such an easy way to decompress from what was going on for my job and just the stress of being in the matrix all the time. And it was just a really good way to do that. And so, I got out there and did that. And then the way I started the channel was I thought there would be, other people that might be interested in the exploits of the 50. At that time, I guess I was 54 years old, because you see a lot of these YouTube videos, they're mostly young folks that are out there. I mean, certainly there are some older guys, but by and large, it's young folks that are out there, in their 20s and 30s and 40s. And I'm like, well, maybe they need some of us old coots to show up on YouTube. So,
well, I was going to ask you about that, because your channel, from what I can gather, you originally started off, with your section hikes. You got some really good prep on there. So I recommend anybody that wants to get out and do a section. You've got how to prep for a section, what happened during your section hike. You've got gear on there. But let's go back to that 50, because one of the things you did say in your introduction video was, this is for over 50 hikers. Well, but that didn't stop me. And I was like, well, I'm not quite 50, but this guy seems to know what he's doing, so I'm going to hang on to that. Mm-hmm. So do you still stand by that? Like, you started that for the over 50 hiker, like you just said. Mm-hmm. So are you still there now?
No, now that was the purpose of the channel was mainly for the over 50. But if you noticed, also in that video, I said, but there'll also be some aspects of this that would be good for the under 50. And so the channel kind of started out as me being over 50, and this is geared toward the over 50 crowd, but other folks will take something from it. But from there, it really morphed into a whole lot more than just me. It morphed into a channel that I am trying my best to utilize to build the hiker community, and not only build the hiker community, be it section hiker or thru hiker, but also to support the thru hikers.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the main thing that I do now. I still have section hikes. I still publicize my section hikes. I still occasionally do gear reviews and stuff, but most of it is updating where the thru hikers are and support for them. So, down in the description section of each video, there's a link to a Google spreadsheet that has all of the thru hikers that I'm tracking this year. So before the pandemic hit us,
Yeah.
I had like 280 some people that we were tracking. And when I say tracking, that sounds like I'm stalking people, but what we're doing is the whole thing that's going on there is we want people to go to that Google spreadsheet, find there, and there they'll find their social media links. They can go to their social media links and just give them an attaboy as they're hiking up the trail. You know, some people on YouTube, some people on Instagram, Facebook, trail journals, what have you.
Right.
But there's a way there through each of those mediums that they can communicate with them and just say, you know, if you'll watch particularly people's videos and even in all the social media things that people utilize, they always, most of the time they get honest and they're talking about how cold it was that day, or I'm getting ready to give up, or I'm hurt. I don't know if I should continue. I'm missing my family. Well, the purpose is to get the hiker community to go and rally around those people and not only live vicariously through them as they hike up the trail, because there's some people that are never going to be able to get on the trail.
Right.
Geographically, they can't get out there. Financially, they can't get out there.
Hey, listen, I've completed the trails as section hiker, and I still live vicariously through, you know, people that are through hiking. And I do want to go back because you mentioned building the hiker community and supporting the hikers. Why does that call to you? Why are you know, here you are, this guy here in North Carolina. We're in North Carolina, by the way. And you have this calling. I want to get back to this calling of building this community, because that's to me, that is very rare.
Well, you know, as I have been doing this channel, it's been amazing to me, the people that have reached out to me and the people that say, hey, thanks for keep doing what you're doing. I really enjoy this. I get something out of it. I've had thru hikers that, you know, that tell me the same thing. And I've had more than one thru hiker tell me that, hey, I thru hiked this year. I finished. I've been watching your videos, and your videos helped me get through my post-trail depression. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that just gives me cold chills thinking about it right now.
I just got goosebumps right now. Like,
how could you not do something that would help somebody get through their post-trail depression? You know, we lose 1 or 2 or 3 every year that commit suicide because of post-trail depression. I talk to other thru hikers and people that have get on, and then they get off for whatever reason, and they didn't finish, and they talk about their post-trail depression. So it's little things like that make me say, this is almost a ministry for me. This is something I want to do to give back to the hiker community. And one of the biggest reasons I want to give back to the hiker community is that the hiker community just seems to be such a family-oriented thing. And by that, it means that you and I have hiked together, or you and I, we may not even hike together. We just love the Appalachian Trail, or we just love hiking, and we're instantly family. We're
family. You've been here, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, you're sitting at the dining room table.
That's right.
Like, we're talking trail,
exactly.
Like we've known each other forever.
And you're going to cook dinner, and I'm going to go take a shower, and, you know, all that. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not for that family yet. But the point is that I think the trail is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor, lawyer, or homeless. Everybody's equal. When you're hiking on the trail, everybody's going through the same aches and pains, the same weather,
I don't care what your occupation is on the trail.
Or how much money you got in the bank. Or whether you're retired, or whether you just graduated college or in high school. Everybody is equal on the trail. And that's what I enjoy so much about the hiker community, is that you could be somebody who's my age, 56, and then you could be somebody who's in their 20s. And when you're on the trail, sitting in a shelter, you can communicate just like you're both the same age.
Your family.
Yeah, your family. Exactly. And that's the reason I want to give back, is because I want to give back because I want to build it. I want others to experience that.
Right. So let's go back. I keep going back because we're gonna get to.
Yeah, when we're going to go forward. We got to get some positive stuff going here. Don't always go back.
So December 20th, 2018 was your first video that you started following, from what I could gather, the class of 2019 Thru Hiker class.
Yep.
And for those of you that have not seen Ramdino's videos or don't have a clue what we're talking about, please, first of all, go over to that channel, see what we're talking about. But what I want to know is, it's a phenomenal idea. What gave you that idea?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It was not my idea.
Okay.
It was the idea, I believe, of Early Riser. Early Riser hiked the trail, I believe, in 2017. So if you're listening to this, ER, and you didn't hike it, it was some other day, I apologize. But I think it was 2017. Because the next year in 2018, he did something similar. I don't think it was quite as involved. He would talk about some people on the trail. When I do something, in particular, when I'm passionate about something, I just go overboard.
Right.
I mean, when I started deer hunting, I had 13 stands everywhere and weapons and bullet making equipment, and taught my daughter how to help me load shells. And so when I do something passionate about something, I'm all in.
You're
That's
all
right.
in.
So, and I'm not saying he wasn't. His just didn't have as many aspects to it, and but his was great. Enjoyed watching that. And then he made a comment somewhere in there that he wasn't going to be doing this in 2019.
Okay.
Just due to things that were going on at work, whatever. And I was like, man, this has been really good watching him. It'd be a shame for this to die on the vine like that. So I was like, well, heck, if he's not going to do it, I'll pick it up. And so
I hate that I didn't know about this in 2019 because I'm obsessed with information about thru hikers, what's going on the trail. Mm-hmm. And you called it a clearinghouse for thru hikers, for section hikers, for day hikers, for people that want to know what's going on. I mean, I just wrote down some things that you do on your channel. You give updates of who's on the trail. You have graphs of who's starting when, what date that you get from, I'm assuming, the ATC.
Yep.
You have Google Docs, you have shuttles, you've got what hostels are doing what. This year you had what hostels were open. You know, you talked about
Trail Angel Network.
And you also have on there like people you support. So give us, so you've got this clearinghouse, it's an information house. And does it come out once a week during the hiker season? Like, where do you gather your info? How do you put an episode together for hikers, for people that are going to be watching this?
Well, I usually upload the episode on Sunday. So Sunday night, I'm putting the next Sunday's episode together. And so it starts pretty much immediately after that. And one of the things is that a lot of the hikers, and it really helps me out when they do this, the Thru Hikers will send me their updates, where they're at.
How do they do that? Through the Google Doc?
They do that through, just do that through, a lot of them have my my phone number.
Okay.
They text me, or they send it through, one of the instant messengers like Instagram or Facebook, through one of those mediums like that. And that's how I get most of it. And they tell me where they are in the world. Now, I always make sure that I don't give an exact update for hiker safety. And a lot of times they don't give me an exact update or exact position, and that's fine because I'm not going to include that in my update anyway, just for their own safety. But a lot of times they send it to me. I subscribe to everybody's channel that I have listed in the Google Doc. I subscribe to their channel, so if I have time, I will go and see where they're at through whatever their latest post is. But most of the time, because it takes so much to put it together, I don't have time to go and look through everybody's YouTube or Instagram.
For pleasure, yeah.
So if I'm updating 20 people that particular week, well, that's because those 20 people have sent me their updates.
Gotcha.
And likewise with people's summits, they'll send me when they summited, they'll send me their summit pictures and things like that. So once summit season starts, then we introduce, that's another portion of the update, is that here's who summited this week.
And this year I noticed on the channel, you had to keep up with everybody flip-flopping.
Yep.
Golf trail here,
really
did
hard,
that,
really
did
hard.
that.
Oh gosh, that's been really hard to keep up with people doing that. So in a normal year, you got all your NOBOs coming up, and so they all start somewhere, between January, which is not a lot, but usually March and end of February, March, and April is when most people are starting. And so you can track them as they come up, and then the SOBOs all start at a particular time. And your NOBO's already done by the time the SOBOs get down to Springer. And then you've got a smattering of flip-floppers, but in a normal year, not a lot of flip-floppers that it takes to keep up with. So this year's definitely been a challenge. It is also a challenge because a lot of people got off the trail once everybody started saying get off the trail. Those that did get off the trail, they didn't necessarily tell me they got off the trail.
Right.
So I'm hunting for them and trying to find them, and I can't see where they're at. And I would eventually get in touch with them, and eventually they would go, yeah, I got off the trail, and I don't know what my plans are. So all that was up in the air. And so,
but I think through COVID, here we go, back again to March.
Yeah.
You didn't really miss a beat. From what I could tell, you kept putting out episodes.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was you would throw some humor in there about the toilet paper and this and that and the other to keep things, going and light and fresh for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it very refreshing to go back and, hey, yes, here's Ramdino still, keeping up with people. You got all the stuff going on with the ATC. You got all the stuff going on all over the world. And here you are still throwing that out, investigating, tracking people down. Did you ever at a point maybe say, hey, listen, maybe I don't need to do this? Or were you like, no, I'm going ahead with what I'm doing?
Well, that's a great question. And that is something that I struggled with initially. Of course, as COVID started getting worse and worse, when it first started getting worse and worse, I felt like I was maybe should stop it because people should get off the trail. And in fact, as I sat there watching the nightly news and everybody got obsessed with it, and, the ATC says get off, and then everybody says get off.
Yeah.
And things are starting to shut down to where they're making it almost impossible for people to do it. Then at that point, I'm like, should I continue to do this or not? And so I did put out a video that said, hey, here's the stats, guys. Here's what's going on out here in the world. Because I know when you get on trail, thru hikers, they get isolated from that. They're not around TV all the time. They don't know what's going on. Most of them are not plugged into their phones or they're watching news or anything like that. So this was kind of telling
you get your information from the trail when you're on the trail.
Right. And so the people that watched my videos, the thru hikers that watched it said, hey, Ramdino, I had no idea how bad I was getting. Thanks for the statistics. Because your video, I'm going to get off. And so they did get off. And so when they got off and everything, I was glad that people got off. But I told people from the beginning, even though I think you should get off because everybody else says you should get off, I am still going to support you no matter what you do. I'm still going to be here for you. I'm not going to abandon you. So even though my advice would be get off because everybody else says get off and these are the reasons why they say get off, I'm still going to be here for you. Reach out for me. And a lot of people did that.
Yeah.
And
then you probably had a resurgence, I would imagine.
I did.
Come late April, into May.
People start getting back on. Yep, I sure did. I had a resurgence of that. And I had, I was expecting some blowback from that. And with the exception of really one or two people, I didn't have any. Matter of fact, most people were very glad that I did that. So, and then when the resurgence came back, that was it. They were glad that I was back there for them again, and they let me know, hey, I'm getting back on the trail, and here's where I'm getting back on the trail, and here, I'm flip-flopping, yada, yada, yada. And so then we go back to the whole thing of trying to keep up with everybody.
Right. And where we are now, we are at the beginning of November. I'm sure there's still some southbounders getting ready to, finish up. Usually, around Thanksgiving, people try to wrap their thru hikes up. So where are people now because of the flip-flopping, the coming back?
Well, of course, all the Nobos are pretty much done, and the people that flipped north, that hiked partially up the Harper's Ferry, then flipped north of Katahdin, and then came back to Harper's Ferry. Most of those folks are done now. The Sobo bubble right now, as best I can tell it, is somewhere in Virginia, central Virginia to maybe Tennessee, North Carolina. I talked to a guy today, and there's a group coming into Irwin in the next couple of days. I know there's a group coming out of the Shenandoahs.
Wow.
Fresh Ground, if you've familiar with Fresh Ground, he has got a group that is coming out, some folks coming out of the Smokies. And so, they're all over the place right now, but
they're
a lot
still
of people
moving. They're still going.
Still moving. But a lot of people, because they got back on the trail late, they're winding up that they're not going to finish because weather's going to move in, and they'll be finishing in 2021.
All right. Well, here's, your information hub, or whatever we want to call it, your clearinghouse, your information hub, your updates for hikers. Where do you see this going forward? Are you continuing 2021? Are you going to try to grow? Like, what's Ramdino doing as far as the channel goes?
Well, I'm going to continue to do what I do with the updates. Last year, from 2019 to 2020, I added some aspects that I didn't have back in 2019. For instance, in 2019, I didn't have a Google Doc. It wasn't accessible. I would list out everybody and their social media in the Facebook section. And so you had to go to that to find it. And so that was really clunky. And I'm not a computer nerd, but I figured out I could do a Google Doc, give everybody in the description section of each video a link to that, and they can do that. And so this year I've also introduced for 2021 that people can actually go. Before, people were having to send me their information. I'd have to put it in the Google Doc myself. Now I figured out how they can go fill out a form. I figured out how to create a form. I'm really proud about that now. Figure out how to form. They can auto fill it in themselves. And so right now we've already got 38 folks that are signed up for 2021. And if people are not comfortable doing that, send me your information. I'll put it in myself. That's not a big deal.
And you know, one thing I like is, as section hikers, I mean, I've used a lot of shuttle drivers. And the one thing that I like about a shuttle driver is they kind of take ownership of me. Mm-hmm. When they drop me off. That's what I mean. Hey, listen, let me know you made it, that kind of thing. And I have never met a shuttle driver that didn't really want to know if I made it or got there. And you're kind of taking ownership of the hikers that are on your Google sheet, is the way I'm taking it.
Oh yeah, those are my guys and girls. I'm here for them, and they will send me. Particularly this year, they had a lot of trouble, with getting shuttles. A lot of shuttles were shut down. And I had a trail angel list that trail angels would call, or not call me, but they would send me email or instant message or something, say, hey, I want to help out. I'm in New Hampshire. Can you let hikers know that here's my number that they can contact me at? I don't want this to be public knowledge, because of COVID, or I just don't want everybody knowing my number. So can you keep it private? So I have a private list. There's probably about, 30 people up and down the trail that would give people rides for free. These were not shuttle drivers that were charging. These were people that were just trail angels that were doing it for nothing just to help people this year. And so, if a hiker got in a certain area and they would contact me and, hey, I need a shuttle here, not a problem. And I would send them that link. I create another link, another Google Doc.
We might be changing your trail name to Google, Mr. Google.
But that helped out a lot of people, and so I could send that to them, and they could keep that in their phones or whatever they got, and take it up and down the trail with them, and get support from other people up and down the trail. And that worked out great.
So, what would you tell any listener who's listening to this right now? What's the first thing they need to do to go get information? Where's this Google list? Where are they going to find out, all this stuff you're talking about? Is it all listed in your YouTube channel? Or
Yep.
Okay.
So the best thing to do is go to my YouTube channel. That's Ramdino Roaming the Trails. And you, down in the description section, will have a link to, of course, my Facebook page and my Instagram page. Those are the best ways to get in touch with me. If you, and there's also my email. That's the best way if you need to send me a message of some type. But there's also links to the Google Doc spreadsheet for 2020 that still has hikers. We've still got a handful of hikers that are out there that you could actually still go and track, or you could actually go back and look at other hikers that have finished. Their stuff is, their links are still on there. So link to that spreadsheet is still on there. And then you can also, there's a link for if you're going to be a Thru hiker next year, either a 2020/21. In other words, you start in 2020, but you're going to come home for the winter and start in 2021. You can go sign up there, or if you're just pure 2021, you could go and sign up to that. Go hit on that link. It'll take you to a survey that you fill in the blank, and then that will populate into the 2020/2021 spreadsheet. So there's a link for that. And there's other links in there too.
And what about if somebody's doing a long section? They're doing a 500-mile section hike or something like that. Are you taking that? I know you probably don't want hey, I'm going out for a week kind of thing, but are you doing any long section hikers?
No, we don't really do any lashes on there because it'd be so many folks. This is mainly the list just for thru hikers. So, there's like 3 million people touch the trail every year. So there's no way I can keep up.
There's no way, yeah.
No way to do that. So the links in there are mainly for thru hikers. Although at the bottom of the description section, there is links for what I call hikers helping hikers. And these are different vendors and people, equipment vendors or shuttle people, things like that, new hostels that are open up to section hikers and stuff. So you can go and find links to that. And then there's also a link there in the description section for the shuttle list that's populated through White Blaze.
Oh, okay. That's
and
great.
So you can go and find that link.
That's perfect for section hikers.
Yeah, and so you can go and find your shuttles and your hostels there.
So let's end this with a couple different questions. So we kind of get a feel for who you are. I mean, obviously you have a passion for Appalachian Trail hikers in the entire community. I don't know how anyone could listen to this and not think that. But let's go back to you.
Okay. Probably should be asking my wife if you want an honest question, but okay, let's talk about me.
So let's go back to Ramdino and Ramdino the Thru Hiker. So are you section hiking to fulfill some of the thru hiking, passion? Or is it, yes, 100% you want to thru hike the trail? And is that definitely going to happen?
Okay, so let's. That sounds like an 8-part question.
It is an 8-part question.
I'll
break that down however you want.
I will try to answer them in order,
if you can remember.
But you may have to remind me of what it was. So I am section hiking now because I love the trail, and that's the main reason for my channel was for section hiking about me. But yes, that's my happy place, getting on the trail, and I'll continue to update those. As far as thru hiking, I don't think I have enough years left in me at the pace I'm at now to section hike the entire trail. But the idea is that when I get ready to retire, then I will do a thru hike at that time. So by that time, I'll probably have, I don't know, maybe half to 3/4 of the trail already done. So right now I've probably got maybe a little less than 1/4. I've got about 500 miles on it.
That's a good chunk.
Yeah. So, which doesn't qualify me as an expert thru hiker by any means. So I still put myself very much in the section hiker category, but I am certainly a supporter of all things thru hiking. So
perfect. And what do you want to leave the listeners with?
I want to leave the listeners with, I'd like for you to check out my channel, if for no other reason, to go find other hikers' channels so that you can go and support them on their journeys, on their track, as they go, throughout what, a lot of these people have, particularly those that are retired, have dreamed about this all their, forever, all their lives, and now they're getting ready to do it. So I would encourage you to go to my channel, go to the description section, find that link, go in there and support them, and then just become part of the hiker community. If you've never experienced it, go to Trail Days next year. Hopefully they'll be having Trail Days.
Hopefully.
Or go to ADCO, which is Appalachian Trail Kickoff down in March.
And that's on my list. That is definitely on my list.
That's down at Amicalola Falls State Park. But the big thing is get out there on the trail. Get out there and experience the trail if you can. If for whatever reason you can't, then experience the trail through others and communicate with them. Let them know that you're there, you're there supporting them in whatever way they need that support. But give them an attaboy. Everybody likes an attaboy.
That's right. All right, Ramdino, I'm going to try to end this properly just for you.
Okay. All right, here we go.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, all right? I appreciate you for coming on the podcast.
Close enough for government work.
All right, sign us off.
Appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.
All right. Happy trails, everybody, and happy section hiking. Thanks, Ramdino, for taking time out of your evening to come over so we could chat and record in person. We really had such a great time. I also want to take a moment to thank you for your passion and contribution to the Appalachian Trail community. I hope all of you head on over to Ramdino's YouTube channel for weekly updates and what's happening in the AT community. Just a reminder, all of the information we mentioned in today's episode can be found in the show notes over on our website at hikingradionetwork.com. You can also check out our other podcasts on the network, subscribe to your favorite shows, leave reviews, donate if you like what we do here at the network, and leave us voice messages. Thanks for listening, everybody, and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I go wandering with you, what kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into. Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way, if you ever get lost or if the trail leads you astray. The music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.